it going, everybody? This is the Stimulus Check Hub here to give you your daily stimulus check and unemployment benefits updates and latest information. If you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube, which is what I try to provide here on this channel.
Congress has approved some $4.5 trillion in total aid spending.
Yes, I do. I spoke with, I started off this morning with the governor of Kentucky and offered to, I said I'll be happy to come, but I don't want to be in the way. When the president shows up, he shows up with an awful lot of personnel, an awful lot of vehicles, an awful lot of, we can get in the way unintentionally. And so what I'm working with the governor of Kentucky and others who may want me to be there is I may make sure that we are value added at the time and we're not going to get in the way of the rescue and recovery. But I do plan on going. Well, we'll see. Whatever is needed, I'm going to ask for it. If we don't already have the wherewithal to take care of it, I'm going to ask for it. This is the United States of America. Our citizens are badly hurt, and they're scared to death right now in terms of all those folks that they can't figure where they are. Where's my son? Where's my daughter? My husband? My wife? My mom? My dad? It's devastating. Yes, you have the question, sir. The answer is yes, if in fact the states conclude they need it. And so the National Guard has been called out in one state, but whatever is needed, it's within the authority of the President of the United States and the federal government to provide that help. And we're going to provide whatever is needed. I think we've demonstrated since we've been elected that every major national disaster, we have been there early, often, and stayed till we got it finished. And that's what we're going to do here. But again, I think what I've found as I've visited these disaster areas in other circumstances, whether it was the hurricane in Louisiana or the gigantic flooding in the Northeast or the wildfires in the West, is the real anxiety right now. All those poor people wonder, where is my loved one? Where are they? Are they going to be okay? And I don't think it's possible to exaggerate the extent of the fear and the concern. And we have a lot of.
According to the Treasury Department data, federal agencies have formally committed to using about $4 trillion of that, and have made $3.5 trillion in actual payments to date. Budget experts say that it can often take time for the total pot of funds to make its way to the American people. That's because government agencies like the Small Business Administration and the Department of Labor go through a process of legally committing to a portion of allotted funding. In simple terms, the $500 billion or so in available relief resources that have not been obligated may not end up being spent by agencies.
And now we'll Build Back Better Act, most historic legislation for working families in the century, jobs, bigger union jobs, higher paying jobs, lower cost, cuts taxes, make the wealthiest and big corporations pay their fair share. Build Back Better accelerates investments in infrastructure again, $10 billion for new transit initiatives to support access to affordable housing. We in California know it's expensive to live someplace. In order for people to have access to jobs, they have to have faster access from home, where housing is affordable. So the connection between transit and housing, very seriously recognized. Maxine Waters and Peter DeFazio work together to make that happen. And $10 billion specifically dedicated to high-speed rail, which I did mention. And will not repeat the planning mistakes of the past, because this will be about the future. Over decades ago, this, as was mentioned, was a rundown terminal that was no longer worthy of the innovative transit city that San Francisco is. Under President Obama and then Vice President Joe Biden, in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, which was a Democratic initiative in the Congress, we were able to break ground, build the trans box below, $400 million, as was indicated in that bill, to build $400 million to build that was in that legislation, and enjoy now taking us to where we are today. But our work is never complete. We always want more. And with the investments made possible by President Biden, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, Build Back Better bill, what we did in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act under President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden will bring Caltrans high-speed rail into this center in the heart of downtown San Francisco. And so there we are. Now, I afforded myself that luxury because it represents so much work by so many people, our legislators, those staff, the communities, the intellectual resource that you all are.
There are deadlines for making these commitments, and they can span years. Now, the details also vary by program, and funds are not eventually obligated or returned for other government uses. And according to analysis, education, healthcare, and disaster relief are among the areas where the government has underspent its obligated funds. The agency was created as part of the March 2020 CARES Act to support oversight of crisis relief spending. Some programs also ended up costing less than initially expected. Half of the United States cut off enhanced unemployment benefits ahead of the Labor Day deadline. More money is also available for the education than any other category. And agencies obligated some $263 billion for elementary, secondary, and vocational education. And nearly $60 billion has been spent to date. Now, the more than $200 billion in total education funding remains on the table, in part because schools have until 2025 to spend it. Congress set aside the cash largely to help restart in-person learning, but schools across the country have reopened their doors, while using only a fraction of the funding. Now, the government noted that some states have used the money for programs to boost students who fell behind during virtual classes due to poor attendance or lack of reliable internet access. That's among many other factors. Now, the bulk of the allowed spending comes from the CARES Act and American Rescue Plan bills. Bills passed in March of 2020 and 2021. Much of the money supported individuals and businesses, with more than $2 trillion coming in the form of stimulus checks, unemployment benefits, and PPP loans. But everybody, here's the breaking news about the stimulus payments. There's more money coming to a specific set of workers that were uniquely affected by the crisis. The money will go to farm workers and meat packers. There's $700 million set aside for those workers, and some of the money, at least $20 million, will go to grocery store workers. The U.S. Agriculture Secretary announced the program to reporters that we recognize that our farm workers, meatpacking workers, and grocery workers overcame challenges and took on some risk to ensure this group of people, everybody, will be receiving stimulus payments. And I think that's great.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. A like and a comment are always appreciated. Also, if you wouldn't mind sharing this with your friends and family, because I'm sure they would also like the most up-to-date information on their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits available anywhere on YouTube. Have a good one.